For more on what a post-Iran war would look like, retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery joins us live. Admiral Montgomery, first question. It seems like a great birthday present for President Trump today would be a peace deal. Is he going to get one?
You know, I think this attack by Israel on Beirut in response to Hezbollah attack could give the Iranians the wiggle room to scotch it and take that away from him. I'm not quite sure yet. I kind of wish that strike hadn't happened. Israel could have waited. As the president mentioned, there were no Israeli casualties, and there's enough back and forth that they could have delayed a couple days on that. So I think there's still a chance, but it got a lot less certain with that Israeli attack.
And they're talking about ending this war the way that people talk about getting a car loan or filing taxes online. The mediator, Pakistan, has this quote: with finalization likely expected in the next 24 hours, Pakistan is preparing for the electronic signing of the peace deal immediately after, followed by technical level talks next week. Why sign electronically?
Well, I just think it's one of those things where the president wasn't going to leave here and the Iranians weren't going to come here. So that would have been hard. But I do think, you know, embedded in all that is that technical discussions. There's a lot of timelines in here. I'm hoping no money transfers till we see very specific acts by the Israelis related, by the Iranians related both to the Strait of Hormuz and the nuclear program.
And we've got a little bit of breaking news here. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, was just talking about the probability of actually sewing up this Iran war. Here's his latest soundbite.
I'll let the final details be announced by them. I don't want to get ahead of the president or the vice president, but they have every intent of getting this done today.
And so you've got the administration saying they have every intent of getting it done, but also Israel is kind of complicating things. Don't they know that we're trying to end this war? It doesn't seem very helpful. Do you think President Trump, knowing what you know about President Trump, has called Bibi to chew him out yet?
I am confident there was some not appropriate language used this morning in a phone call because the president really wants this here. He's shown great patience. He's kept this blockade going for months, really squeezed the Iranian economy to the point where we're getting these kind of negotiations. He opened up the Southern Transit Scheme so oil could get out. He's done everything possible to create the conditions for this agreement to come through. And it looks, by what is being leaked, like an appropriate deal. If that's the case, he does not need anyone scotching that up for him.
And the latest from the president himself, he says he built a wall. The quote is, a wall to no nuclear weapon. In fact, they no longer want a nuclear weapon, nor will they have one either through purchase, development, or any other form of procurement. The deal is scheduled to get signed tomorrow, and immediately after it is signed, the Hormuz Strait is open to all. How can Iran promise that the Strait of Hormuz is going to open up if, now we know after a couple weeks of this, it just takes one guy in a dinghy with a rocket launcher to scare ships away and drive the global price of oil up and up and up?
Well, I think two countries can close the strait, Iran by geography, the United States by naval power. One country can keep it open, the United States by naval power. So I suspect we'll have to keep some number of ships, but also Navy and Air Force aircraft in position to maintain safety and security in there. They'll convince the merchant ship owners and the insurers to allow the merchant ships to flow back and forth, you know, restoring slowly to pre-war levels.
And my last question for you, Admiral. President Trump has gotten a lot of advice from a lot of different people during this war, from the military advisors, from his diplomats, and from allies in the Middle East and the Gulf. What is your read on who has given him good advice and who has given him bad advice?
Well, I think first and foremost, General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and Admiral Brad Cooper, the Central Command commander, did exactly what he asked them to do. He said, give me, you know, a attack plan that removes their long-term ability to build ballistic missiles, drones, a navy, and a nuclear program. And that happened. I recognize there's still some ballistic missiles left, but there's none that are going to get produced. Their whole defense industrial base was crushed. So he's got to be happy with the advice he got from those two men.
Admiral Montgomery, they tell me that you're going to stick around for the hour in case there is breaking news, so stand by, and we might be back with you in a little bit.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.